The brand blueprint was quite interesting to me too. It's all about authenticity. Why is Oprah a good brand? Content is key. I believe that we have the capabilities now that we're seeing other brands shining. So, what do you think gave rise to all these brands coming up? When you do the work, your work will always speak for you. Brand blueprint. It was quite interesting to me to look at some of the case studies that you studied in this book. Let's start with Oprah. Why is Oprah a good brand?
Wow. I think looking at how she maneuvered like the space in terms of also the impact that she made to the youth. So for me, it's more like what she has done and the impact.
Gary Vaynerchuk. I saw you also referenced him in your book as well. What is it about Gary? I mean, people see him on social media, jab hook, release social media content, but they've never really understood what he's actually saying. What is Gary's brand? What is Gary actually saying?
In terms of Gary, I think from looking at my brand and how he has maneuvered the space, I fully relate to him. That's why I even quoted him in the book, to give some of the context to say, if you want to build a personal brand, go look at his book. So it's more on a reflection of how I see myself.
And when we talk about brand building, I mean, you've built a lot of brands, you've worked with a lot of brands. What is that secret? What have you noticed? What can they take when it comes to building a brand?
I think when it comes to building a brand, it's all about authenticity. I always advocate that you need to be authentic, take one step at a time. And also it's all about, packaging yourself, as an individual, being competitive and also structuring yourself to be competitive.
You've worked with a lot of famous people, especially in 012 in Pretoria, and you've created very powerful brands there. Can you take us through one of the journeys or one of the brands that are well known and how you structured or built that brand?
Okay, I think the most interesting brand that I can mention now, which now it's been, I think, 6 months. It's a dentist. So it's quite interesting how we, came about to structure the brand. So basically, she had a dentist with one of the partners, but the fact that they decided to split. So which now early this year, she texted me, said, "Sid, I think I want you back." Like, you want me back? What do you mean? And then she said to me, "I'm starting my own dentist." Okay. So what do you want me to do? That's what I asked her. What do you want me to do? She said to me, "I want you to push my marketing." Like, okay, fine. I told her, okay, give me a week. Give me a week. Let me think about it and see how we can, build this brand. Which the funny thing is that we went to the same high school. So the relationship is there, but it's just a matter of how do we approach it. So what happened is that after a week, I drafted something, concept note, like, please go through it. I sent it her the concept note. Which after that, what happened is that, okay, she came back to me like, said, "Come, let's sit down and talk about how we can build this brand." Okay, fine. I asked her, like, what direction do you want to take? As much as we are still young, we are the same age, by the way. So I'm like, you know what? For us to be competitive, let's look at how things are operating now. Like, let's not be like a stagnant brand, like a normal dentist that like anyone can just walk into the dentist. It's like, no, sit. I'm giving you the platform. Do whatever you want to do. So what I did, I said, okay, fine. I have an idea. I understand that you want me to push the brand. How about I become the brand ambassador? So that's how I wanted people to get touch, like to basically familiarize themselves with me and the brand. Since now I know that I'm a big brand, So now, if now people are seeing me as an ambassador of a brand that is just starting now, so it gives them a glimpse of, you know what, why is this guy being a brand ambassador of this brand? So that's how actually things transpired, which now, as we speak, oh, we're talking numbers. Even now, I was speaking to her. So we just recently, we're doing a campaign for November. So it's Black November. So 50% off. So basically every month we do like campaigns. So we just recently put a billboard in Sanctuary. So those are the moves that we are doing. And she's quite happy. Like she's quite happy in terms of how we are moving. I also told her about, let's not just bring any like influence. Let's research and see how we bring influencers. We want somebody who will be attached to the brand, because I'm all about long term. So I don't believe in bringing an influencer now and then next thing he posts something, then that's it. So I feel like it's always good when somebody gets attached to the brand, own the brand. As much as you're not the brand, but you working for the brand, it always works well like that way. So which the name of the brand is Lumin Dental. So that's one of the brand, like the recent brand that I'm currently working with, and I'm quite happy in terms of how things are transpiring, which is a different industry. But for me, it's like I've managed to juggle both, as much as I'm in the education space, but now I'm in the dentistry, I'm in the entertainment, I've been in sports. So for me, it's how I've been navigating all these brands. So that's something that I can say that, I've done with.
How did you get into branding? How did you finally find that this is something that you love doing and it's your passion?
It's a self-taught thing. Whenever I went to school for like branding, which for me, I remember even on my book, I quoted about my cousin, which he's also my mentor. So at some point, the time I was playing football, like in the university. So what happened is that he told me that I need to mentor you, my boy. I need to mentor you in terms of how you need to move. So what happened is that I went to his house for like 6 months. So at that time, every day, like he was just showing me how he lives. Like we go to meetings and stuff, So at some point, he told me that, what do you actually love? What do you love? I told him, I love fashion, okay, social media and stuff, So he said, okay, fine, I understand you love those things. And what are your hobbies as well? Which I indicated. I'm like, okay, I'm always on social media, So he told me that from now on, you're going to take your hobby and make money for you. Then from there, things started to align. I started, understanding my personal brand, and in terms of how I should move, and also looking at how I've been pushing other brands. For example, during my varsity days, I used to like wear Galaxy Boy. Not sure if you're familiar with the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my good friends. So which at that time I used to like buy his clothes. But eventually it's like, no, Chief, you always buy, push this day, So it always give me free goodies and stuff, So which also that's something that made me to start my brand, which that's where SKM was born. But with SKM, I didn't want it to be a clothing brand, but I saw the vision that this brand can be an umbrella to a lot of brands. But how do I get it out there? So which now I'm like, okay, people love Galaxy Ball, people love clothes. So let me start by gaining like recognition with clothes and stuff, also with events. So that's how I've navigated the streets. Then from there, that's when I shifted, let me bring in other services, which that's where social media came in, brand development, digital marketing and stuff. So which I've created the network at that time. I know that I have this person, I have this person, I have this person. So me, I'm just a B2B. So that's basically how I've navigated the branding part and how I've worked with brands and stuff. So it's been a a long journey, but also, you always stumble through the journey. So that's how things have been. But now, after writing this book, which it's been 5 years, I've been writing this book. So during the process, that's where I realized, how do I structure? I'm looking at my business partners, how they are struggling. So what I've realized, I'm like, you know what? Let me package something. The way I'm being competitive, I'll rather assist other people so that they can also be competitive. So that's basically how things have been, transpiring along the journey.
Oh, very interesting. What do you think gave rise to all these brands coming up? Many people usually say that many years back we did not have the Batus, the Drips, the Galaxy Boys, all these brands that young guys are coming up with. And now people are beginning to buy these brands and recognize them, and they're becoming something. Recently I saw on social media DJ Zinhle opening up another store of her brand. What do you think is causing that? What is this trend?
It's quite interesting to see these brands are coming up now. I think for me, I honestly believe it's our time now. Like, it's our time. We've been grinding, but now I believe that it's our time to shine. That's why they always say, when it's your time, it's your time. I understand that there are a lot of nitty-gritties and stumbling through the journeys and stuff, but right now, it's like when you see Galaxy Boy doing it, then it gives you hope as a person that we have the capabilities. I believe that we have the capabilities now that we're seeing other brands shining. So it gives us the hope and like the momentum as well, and I can see all these brands, they're starting to work together. It means that when we see Batu doing great, we see Galaxy Boy, they're always in one spaces. So I think it's also a matter of collaboration. It's a matter of collaboration, which when you collaborate, you become competitive as well, So I think that's how things are happening right now. It's our time, and we being competitive, and we're working as a collective.
What would you say for somebody who's watching and who wants to start a brand and they don't know where to start? They want to maybe start a clothing brand, a shoe brand, or even themselves as a brand, like they're a DJ. Where would you say the beginning for them should be?
I think when it comes to starting a brand, you should always start with then why. Like, why do you want to do it? You can start anything, but the purpose, it's what matters. Why am I doing? Because also I've realized that there's a lot of like people are copying other people for the fact that this person has done it. I also want to do what he has done. Also with me, it's always passion. What are you passionate about? Which I indicated that what do you like doing? So it always a why and what are you passionate about. So when you are passionate about something, obviously you're gonna give you 100%. You know that when I wake up today, this is what I wanna do. I'm not doing what someone else is doing. So I think also you must start with your why, and also the most important thing is be authentic. As much as you can be authentic, like do what you feel, or what, this thing I can do it. Don't do what somebody is doing. So I think that's also the problem that arise when people are building their brains. They are looking at other brains. They have done this, I've done this, what. So I believe that as an individual, do what you're passionate about and start with your why. Then the rest will follow. And also, again, don't be afraid to fail. They always say that, failure, it's like it gives you hope that, what, I failed. And also to believe it, like people, when they invest in brands, they would want to invest in somebody who has failed, which I believe that for me, I failed, and now I've been failing forward as well. As much as you might fail, but you must fail going forward. Then eventually things will arise.
That's very true.
Yes.
You have a strong online presence. What role does content creation play when it comes to building a brand? Should people be creating content out there?
Content is like fuel in the car. Like it's like fuel. Like as much as you have the car, but for the car to move, it needs what? Fuel. Exactly. So which now, when you're building content, it's basically content is like a substance that makes something to be seen, consistency as well. So I think with me, when it comes to content, I always indicate I'll rather be consistent as much as I can, so that, people can recognize that, oh, there's this. Even if you get 2 likes, 0 likes, push the content. Especially when it comes to TikTok, because right now TikTok is doing massive. It's doing massive. Like now, there's another brand that I'm working with, which is Rose Sunday Picnic. Right now, like we doing waves in Pretoria. Like our next event is on the 8th of December. We are already sold out. Which our TikTok and Facebook accounts are doing massive. So for me, it's like we always push content. I remember 3 days ago, one of the event organizers told me that, hey, Chief, who's this guy? Who's this guy? I forgot his name, but he's an artist. So he was trending at some point because of some shenanigans and stuff. But right now, what's happening is that we booked that guy, push content for him, boom, 1 million views. So content is key. Content is key.
I mean, looking at TikTok, there's a lot of people that have been saying that, TikTok brings in a new dynamic in social media that people have not seen before, where people are more real, more authentic. But there are also those that are asking themselves, say, are these numbers real? Because if you look at the numbers and I've also seen it myself to say, every other platform, none of them touch TikTok numbers. Are they real? Do you think that the numbers on TikTok are real?
Definitely they are real. Sometimes I think their strategy is more, they saw that, when it comes to like your Instagram, but Facebook is still the best like social media network. Still the best. The numbers are massive. But when it comes to TikTok, people who like have TikTok account are more like it's like, I don't know how to put it, but it's more like you said it, authenticity and stuff. Like people are bringing out their talent. Like it's not like Instagram where I need to do this when I post. So I think that's where the people fall in love with the brand TikTok. So which obviously it caters everyone, your grannies. You get the audience of TikTok. So that's why I'm saying it's real, based on my opinion.
And when it comes to monetization, I mean, a lot of people that are building their brand, they always say we want to monetize. What are some of the tips that you could give? I know in your book you touch on that as well.
So with my book, I didn't touch much on monetizing, which it's the direction that I want to move towards. So hence the blueprint, which is the beginning. It's like the baby. Then the next book, that's where I'm going to touch on how to monetize and stuff. But also, just to touch on it, when it comes, money it's vital because it keeps the fuel going. So which, when it comes to monetizing, we also need to be strategic about it. When you're spending your money, especially when it comes to clients. I think with me, some of the clients that I started working with, I started volunteering. Because some people always, they want to start like charging massive prices. The next thing, when it comes to delivering the work, they give you what? 0. So I'm saying, for me, how I've structured or how I've maneuvered the space, most of the clients I've started charging less and giving them more impact. So it creates longevity and it creates trust, so that even tomorrow when they say, this is what I'm giving you, I know that I've earned the money. So that's the strategy that I don't chase the bag. I'd rather chase the work, and then the work speaks for me. So that's mostly how I can say, what, when you want to monetize, be strategic. Go to a route that everyone will always send invoice, whatever. But when you do the work, your work will always speak for you. Which for me, most of my clients, I know I don't charge invoices, because they know this guy is always on top of his game, so which it's been working for me. So I think maybe people can also take tips in terms of how to monetize and also how to move around the space.
Now, for viewers that are watching that want to get their hands on your book, what is it that they can look forward to? What will they get when they purchase your book?
Very interesting question. So with my book, it's a step-by-step guide. But the interesting part is that every chapter I reflect through it. Like when I say chapter 1, identify branding, I also reflect towards my journey. Meaning that it's not just a book that you can just go to an internet and type personal branding. So it has a meaning of whatever that it said, and also a reflection of how I've maneuvered the game. So it's like it's a real-time thing. It's not something that you are reading, but there's no practicality. So maybe I think that's the interesting part about this book, that I reflect through it. I'm not just saying, hey, social media presence. Then when you go to my social media, you see zero engagement, you see. So it's basically what I've wrote there. It's something that I've done practically, and it's working for me. So hence now I'm saying that, hence I've decided, you know what, as much as that people always ask, hey Sid, how did you do it? Like, let me package this thing to everyone out there.
Well, that's great. You're doing amazing fucking branding.
Yeah.
And we always
sorry.
Yes.
Also, like how I've done the sales, it's massive. I can see that social media plays a role, but never underestimate groundwork. Like knocking at doors, like everywhere, every day, making moves, going to a place, get there, sell a book, like that. Since the past month, that's what I've been doing. Going to people, taking pictures, using my network, like just like that. Which now, yesterday I had an interview at, I don't know if I should mention brands.
Often you can. Yes.
So I was at LXFM yesterday. So which, like after actually during the interview, like people were buying books, like getting notification, like, hey, I know this thing is real now. This thing is real. But also I'm looking at how that's why also I'm not going the route of, selling in stores and stuff. So I want to go to a different route, because this book has a lot of impact. I don't just want to put this book in shelves. Like it needs to move. It needs to get to the right people. So hence now I'm like, no, I'd rather now do collaborations, go CSI. Then from there, I know that it's going to reach the right people.
Ooh, that's so profound. Guys, get yourself a copy of the brand blueprint. Now, in this podcast, at the end of the podcast, we always ask a closing question, which is, what do you want to be remembered for? When people remember Sidney or Sid, what is it that you want them to remember you for?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think for me, it's all about whatever that you want, go for it. Like that's always what I say. Like every time when I do things, like if I want something, eventually I get it. Like that's me as a person. When I say I want this, eventually, even for me to be where I am today, I knew years back, but I knew that the time will come. Even for now, it's just a matter of, like being humble and, respecting the game. But I've been preparing. Like everyone always say, like, just take your flowers a bit. We've seen you for years pushing this. So for now, it's just, a matter of, I knew what I wanted. Now that, not saying I got it, but I still remain humble, I'm still gonna go for what I want. So that's basically my key takeaways.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's Sid. And he says, let's go for what we want. Whatever that you want, go for it. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the podcast.